Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Tuesday, June 15th, and you've come to the place where you really don't know what to expect when we hit the go button here. Joined by Monty and CJ, our crypto analysts from MarketRebellion.com, and everybody's favorite neighborhood. He's like the Mr. Rogers of crypto, Rob from Digital Asset News.
Just missing the sweater. Just missing the sweater.
Just missing the sweater, my man. All right, so today's a good feel-good day. I'll let everybody know there's been a lot less smoking on the indicator today, so that should bring smiles to everybody's face. But even CJ smiling today, and it's the first time in a long time we've seen that happen. So you should let that confidence bleed over into your own portfolios and keep your chin up. CJ, you're pulling double duty today. Ryan is out under the weather, so take it away.
Thank you, Alex. Nice to have you here today, Rob. Hope everybody on the panel is doing well. Just a reminder that nothing said today by Market Rebellion, Trade the Chain, or Digital Asset News should be considered financial advice. We do this show for you guys for entertainment and, hopefully educational, informative purposes as well. Moving over to the Trade the Chain. This is an AI-driven sentiment indicator dashboard and alert system to help you beat the market. Pulls sentiment data from APIs and Twitter and presents a sentiment score on a various list of assets all throughout the crypto space, as well as volumes and things of that sort. So a very nice tool that I love to use each day when I'm doing my own market analysis. But you can try that for... Sorry, folks. Excuse me. You can try that for 2 weeks for free trial at tradethechain.com. And then moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get exclusive access to trade ideas on a weekly basis, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum with a lot of videos on TA and more trading strategies that we are looking to employ in the future as well. And you can try all of that at marketrebellion.com/crypto and get the first month for just $1. So please do that. We really appreciate it, guys. We have a mobile app as well. But with that being said, anything you gentlemen would like to share here?
Could we revisit what we talked about yesterday, which was utility and what you and Ryan were talking about?
No. No, we can't revisit it.
Just kidding. Now let's just break into the big stories in the TA. And what I want to know is where are we at for this whole death cross thing? I know we are diverging from it, but what's happening with that one?
Also, one thing I think we should talk about today, CJ, I'm going to put you on the spot again. I feel like I'm doing this a lot recently, but you were talking about DOT earlier today. And I did notice that over on Trade the Chain on the coin screener that the sentiment for Polkadot was really tearing to the upside. It was up at the top of the board. So if you could maybe go through your bullish case for DOT and what you're seeing there too, I think the audience would really like that.
Yeah, put me on the spot, whatever. That's totally do that. I'm fine. Yeah, that was also part of the reason why I picked DOT this morning, was because not only the technical setup, but also it was one of the top in terms of sentiment as well. And Rob, I saw your question in the chat yesterday about the death cross. We'll get to that as well.
I do want to remind folks that real quickly, when he talks about this morning, that's referring to the daily crypto bite that Monty and CJ put over on Market Rebellion with John and Jerry, and that link is down below. So definitely go ahead and watch that.
And one last thing we should talk about while we're going through the syllabus today is Bitcoin dominance. I saw a comment from Dan in the chat, as well as the CCO of Trade the Chain, Nick Mancini, said if he could trade Bitcoin dominance with leverage, he'd be 50x long Bitcoin dominance right now. So that's a major conviction, and I think we should touch on that. And I agree with him, to be honest.
I think so as well. It's creeping up towards 50% now, and I swear I don't think I would ever see it go back above 50% again, but we'll see. I don't know. Tell us what it all means, CJ, please.
Yeah. Tell us everything.
I'm just configuring a few things. Bear with me.
He's getting his paint and pen set ready to draw on the charts. Also, some crazy stuff. While he gets ready real quick, I just want to take note of a few things that are interesting. A lot of MicroStrategy news coming out today. MicroStrategy triples down on Bitcoin. MicroStrategy selling up to 1 billion of MSTR stock to buy Bitcoin. I was discussing this before the show with CJ. You got to give the guy credit. He is irresponsibly long, and there's a lot of gumption behind it. But let me tell you something. The dude has Cojones, thank you. And if this trade works out, I mean, watch out, Jeff Bezos. This guy is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, even if Bitcoin only goes to like, let's say 80K or whatever, they're going to have enough capital left to just go up and buy up each one of their competitors. It doesn't even matter if they, to Ryan's contrary point about MicroStrategy, they don't do anything or they don't produce anything. It doesn't even matter if they do at this point, since they've got so much free capital, they can just go acquire all of their competitors.
Well, I was going to ask you the same thing. I mean, do they really actually need to do what their core business is anymore? It's like what it is. They successfully backdoored a Bitcoin ETF into the U.S. markets.
Yeah, it's looking like it. That the price action seems to be pretty much exactly that. So, well done, Michael Saylor.
No kidding. That guy's going to be. He might just leapfrog all of them. He might be the richest man on the planet. Who wouldn't like that? That car salesman. That would really be a blow to his ego.
All right, CJ.
Just like casually write it off. Oh, just a car salesman.
Just a car.
All right, let's start the show and let's go in. Let's start with the death cross because I've been seeing a lot of this. And just for those who do not know, a death cross is defined when a 50 period or a 50-day moving average comes below the 200-day moving average. And so obviously the 50 characterized by this gold line is going to move much quicker than the one below, which is the 200. The 200 is going to be a more steady or a more smooth moving average because it's taking the average price from a much longer period than, say, just the 50. So when the 50 either, intersects downward or upward, that kind of gives us clues as to, all right, what's the trend going to do? Now, one of the common mistakes that I think people make when talking about death crosses or the inverse being a golden cross, and I did this as well when I was first coming into TA, is that you look at a moving average and you kind of assume that is a leading indicator. And by time the death cross actually occurs, that's pretty much a reflection of all of this previous price action, because moving averages are just taking an average of previous price. So they are a lagging indicator. So what I like to find and what I like to use them for is by like support or resistance levels. So is this death cross going to create an immense amount of resistance anywhere from 42 to 44K? Absolutely. But in terms of like a predictive indicator, I don't think it means, we've hit the death cross, we're going to 20K. It's kind of a counter indicator at that point, because once you actually get the death cross, that means that a majority of the bearish price action has already occurred. So I'm not too worried about it. We just need to get above those critical resistance levels of like 42 to 44. And I think it's going to be tough as of now. But Monty, you have any thoughts on the death cross there?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, CJ. And it makes sense what you're saying that, this is kind of already priced into the market, because this is something that's been, circulating on Twitter for about 2 weeks now. I've seen people mentioning this. So I agree that it's somewhat already factored in. But I think, that point that you made about it may not, right when those averages cross, it won't be substantial. But it's just setting up this level for 42K to be even stronger resistance going forward, like you mentioned. And I think that, because of the turn down of this moving average, that's another thing we can take away from it, is kind of the direction of the moving average. And until this 50-period moving average really flattens out, I think we're going to be in for, some bearish and neutral consolidation below this 42K level. I think, to an extent, we've already seen the death cross priced in the sense that despite our bullish momentum, we haven't been able to break this 42K. People are seeing this already as staunch resistance and, taking profits, even if they're small profits, at right around this level, because there is, a pretty good amount of fear in the market right now. One thing that I want to touch on quickly is Bitcoin dominance. We mentioned this at the beginning of the show. And like I said, Nick Mancini has been talking about this as well. But this, in conjunction with what you were just talking about and those moving averages, CJ, to me paints a pretty clear picture that we're in for some consolidation when it comes to BTC price action. Because when you see an uptick in Bitcoin dominance, it's not necessarily due to the fact, or at least historically what we've seen, is not so much positive Bitcoin price action during that time, but rather a move out of the more risk on assets downstream, like even ETH or even further downstream with some of these very high beta assets. People will move out of these risk on assets and into Bitcoin. And that's what causes Bitcoin dominance to rise. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. Bitcoin is not going to get above 42K, but we will see an increase in Bitcoin dominance. The technical setup is just looking primed for a reversal. We have this bullish engulfing candle coming off the buy 9. We got a bit of a rejection, but now another bullish engulfing candle. And I do expect this trend to continue up into the 50 range. And what that would look like in the Bitcoin price action would be, like I said, some consolidation around this 42K level. But more importantly, what we'd see in an asset like ETH would be a more significant correction. And one thing that I've been kind of harping on over the last couple of weeks is the divergence from the 200 period moving average. And I think that in order for this Bitcoin dominance to reach into the 50 range, which is what these technicals are telling us, while consolidation is occurring below that moving average, we need to see a significant dip in the price of ETH, likely back to around this moving average, which would at the time be around 2K. So I think the death cross, the moving averages, Bitcoin dominance, and where ETH's at right now, all these things together are painting actually a pretty clear picture about what we might be seeing over the next month. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing, but I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on that as well.
First of all, excellent analysis. Well, two things. First of all, I just got my new title for my next video from CJ. We hit the death cross. We're going to 20K. Thanks. I just need to do that one and then do that stupid Home Alone face, and I'll probably have 100,000 views. And then secondly, it's good to hear these types of analysis, because it becomes so sensationalized in Twitter and on YouTube. So CJ and Monty, you guys are tops. I love when you guys explain these things, because it makes a lot more sense to me and the average person. So I don't know where it's going to go. In dominance, I can see it. We've had so much good news about Bitcoin, different countries adopting all these things. Who knows, a little bit of sideways action, but I'm okay with 42. Remember a year ago in roughly March 2020, weren't we at like 5K, 6K? And now everybody's complaining about 40K. It's amazing how quickly we forget how much ground we've made. Just when in doubt, zoom out. I think everything's going to be just fine.
Well, I'm gonna actually give every of the viewers a little sneak peek into Trade the Chain's Discord channel for those of you who are not members. Nick Mancini, our chief community officer, put up a poll today, if you guys can see this. And so basically it states most of you have seen talk of inflation news. Some say it's transitory, others say it isn't. Either way, the consumer price index saw a 5% rise in average prices over the past 12 months. Considering inflation is here to stay in the near future, does this help or hurt Bitcoin's opportunity for price appreciation? So yeah, I mean, folks, look over those answers 1 through 4 underneath. Let us know what you think. So I'll just leave this up here for a moment. But Monty, going back to your analysis of Bitcoin dominance, do you see dominance rising above 50%, say all the way to 60%?
Yeah, historically what we've seen is a topping of around 70%, but that's when we see Bitcoin performing tremendously well also. I think that this time around it's more likely that we maybe top in the high 50s, at the most 60%. Now that, there's just so much interest downstream, so much value locked in DeFi assets. And also there's talks of, like we mentioned yesterday, institutions taking a look at Ethereum based funds. For me, the cap for Bitcoin dominance just becomes lower and lower year after year as the market just becomes more robust with legitimate downstream projects. So I'm looking for a top in Bitcoin dominance of maybe, 58 to 60%.
Wow. Okay. CJ, you agree with that?
I haven't really been paying much attention to Bitcoin dominance just because I feel that the alts are just kind of neutral. If Bitcoin's going to be new, like they're just very in lockstep with one another. And so I just can't really see a world as of now where Bitcoin goes to say 45K and Ethereum goes to like 1800. Like I still think they're going to be very lockstep. The only reason why we would see a massive increase in Bitcoin dominance, in my opinion, is if we fell very strongly, like back to 35 or even 30K, because that's when we did see the initial massive climb in Bitcoin dominance and bottom. So it hasn't been one of the primary elements of my analysis lately.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's do some Ethereum. Let's go over Ethereum. And the reason, you see us skip it 2/3 of the time when we hit the big boards, that's because it's pretty much doing the same thing as Bitcoin half the time. But let's see where it is as we pay attention, because it did have that divergence. And are we going to get back into that lockstep as CJ is hoping for? I think Ryan Cunningham, I think Ryan's jealous of Michael Saylor too. And he better not be skipping today for a soccer match.
He's skipping school. How dare he?
Oh, wow. I didn't even put that together. Yeah, Portugal's playing right now and Ryan's sick. Very convenient.
He did call me this morning and he sounded like the deaf man cometh. So I think there might be some truth to it.
I can do the same thing when I want to go somewhere. Alex, sounds so good.
Well, either way, I hope he's relaxing and enjoying himself. But taking a look at the ETH chart. So this is really interesting for me. The thing I've been looking most at recently is just the volume. And it's been so lackluster, even on days where we've had, positive price action in Bitcoin coming off the back of positive news. ETH just hasn't gotten the same jump. It seems like it's kind of hard to see, but it feels like we're, somewhat compressing towards this level of 2250. Typically, when I see this sort of buy 9 on a doji candle, I would expect an even stronger price pop. And what I was hoping to see for ETH was a break above this level right here of about 2880, and perhaps go into I'm bugging out here into the 3K range. But we didn't get that, and we just didn't get the volume. So, if you've been watching this show for the past week, I think it's pretty clear that I'm bearish on ETH, but that could all change. CJ talks about Bitcoin and ETH moving in lockstep. I 100% agree that would happen if Bitcoin does break above 42K. We saw it to a very small extent right here with that positive price action for Bitcoin. ETH did kind of follow a bit lockstep, but just less extreme price action. So I'm bearish on ETH. I'm remaining bearish on ETH until the volume comes in, and we're just not seeing that right now.
Yeah. One of the things about Ethereum is that, first of all, there's a lot of disappointment in rooms around America on it. I'll tell you that much. Particularly when you hear about the good trade that, Kramer put in, where he boasted about his free Hummer that he bought with his Ethereum profits when selling it. CJ, what's your outlook for it?
Just neutral. I mean, it's pretty much range bound. And I expect it to do pretty much what Bitcoin does, in the sense that when Bitcoin goes down, I think ETH will go down even harder. However, like Monty said, on the upside, we haven't seen ETH be like stronger than Bitcoin. We've seen it be, good, but a little weaker. And I think that has to do with the flow of capital in the space. I think we call this the slingshot effect, where we see a lot of capital come into the risk off crypto assets, namely Bitcoin, because it is the most risk off crypto asset. That's what we saw in our initial climb when we first started going to 20, 30, and 40K. Then the slingshot effect came where ETH really started going. Then we had retail start pumping things like Doge, and all of that capital came into, kind of the ignition assets, I guess we would call them. And so I expect something similar to happen with ETH, and it's not really why I'm inherently bullish on it. I just think that you're going to see Bitcoin go up first. And then once retail gets more excited at the opportunity of Bitcoin going back up and saying, okay, we're back into a risk on environment, then the capital kind of comes back into the space and everybody has a money throwing party.
I like it. Ignition assets. I don't know if anybody's noticing, but Ryan is now arguing Metcalfe's law. There's an argument in the live chat that has bled over from yesterday's episode.
Let's stay focused. We got a lot to get through today.
Like like CJ said in the beginning, we're here for entertainment only. We're trying to get our own sitcom on NBC at some point. So with all of this, Rob, let me get your point of view. Do you believe, because of the last 2 days of price action and a little stability in the market, that we're about to enter our second leg of the bull run up? Or is this just a teaser and we're still going to be range bound for the summer? What's your gut telling you?
Well, my gut and what I hope for is that everything moves sideways. And I think that's where we're going to go for, because people don't really know. It feels kind of like gambling to everybody right now. Even the technicals, like Matt and CJ made a great point for each way to go, but I just don't see anything really exploding for a while. And for me, for traders, this is awful. But for me, for dollar cost averagers, this is great. This is a gift, because this is the most important time to accumulate. I can just go when it's boring. I can just put in my $100, $150 for each little project that I want to do and just wait till it takes off, because it's going to inevitably take off. It's just going to take time. It's going to take like a month, 2 months, 6 months. I don't know. I really don't care, because I'm just here for the long haul. And that's really what it comes down to.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, listen, we have Trinity Trading coming on after this, and quite honestly, we'll see what we're going to pick, because these range bound sideways markets, they're very difficult, like you said, but very advantageous for the DCA guys. So a couple things I'll just show the folks real quickly. This is what the sentiment looks like on Bitcoin currently. This is zooming out 7 days. Obviously, you can see we're a little positive, but if you zoom into the 1 day, sentiment is declining. So it'll be interesting to see where price action goes from here. Hourly sentiment. Well, let's do daily sentiment. Daily sentiment. I mean, AMP's been at the top of the charts a few times over the last week. We got Origin Protocol. Let's see what else we got down there. We got Polkadot, which is bearish for the hour, but bullish for the day, and a couple others. So let's see what happens when we go over to Trinity Trading and try to pick something based on the sentiment and the technicals for what we're going to do. Monty, we're going to give you a pick here. If you had to pick one today for, let's say, a swing trade, an intra-week swing trade, what would be something off the top of your head, or maybe even a couple of choices?
Yeah, so there's been a couple things I've been looking at. First and foremost, what we were talking about at the beginning of the episode, CJ's pick from the Daily Crypto Bite, Polkadot. When I saw the sentiment this morning on Trade the Chain, that was the first thing that really impressed me. But then CJ pointed out some, really positive technicals as well. I don't want to go in too in depth just in case he does want to talk about it on Trinity Trading. But I think, going along with what we were saying about ETH and the delay of ETH 2.0 and what that might mean for competitors in the meantime, I think there's some good upside potential when you look at some other, smart chains like Polkadot, like Cardano, like AVAX, and even like Binance Chain. So those are some interesting picks over the next couple of weeks for me. Also, Polkadot, one reason I like it is because of the 8% interest offered on Voyager. So that's another kind of play I'm looking for, is these sort of yield farming, high APY opportunities. If we do get a consolidating market, like I'm kind of anticipating over the next month, I'd really like to maximize my return by looking at some of those staking options. So StormX, I really like the price right now. It's been hovering around this level for a while, and I've actually been accumulating over the last 2 weeks. So those are the two solid ones I'll give you, DOT and StormX.
Yeah, solid.
Okay, I like StormX actually. Looking at where it's coming from, I believe it's got some legs and it's going places right now. So I'm looking at that. Let's see. I'm curious about ADA. I'm starting to get the Cardano bug a little more and more the last couple of weeks. So,
Curious.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Hey, did you see? Hey, just real quick, Alex. I did a video yesterday where your man Mike Novogratz did a quick.
I watched that with Mike the investor. Didn't you cover that with him? Yeah, that was a good episode. I liked it.
Yeah. If you guys don't follow Mike the investor, just Google Mike the investor. He's got a pretty solid show, and he even laid some pretty good yield farming advice. 70% or something like that with True USD, unbelievable. But we were talking about Mike Novogratz, how he calls Cardano holders a very weird cult, doesn't understand it. And I was like, this is great. And then apparently Charles Hoskinson said he just drinks the Kool-Aid because he was roommates with Joseph Lubin in college, which I think, I don't know if it's 100% true, but I think they have a high acquaintance. I just thought it was funny.
Well, it's interesting because Novogratz's initial crypto money came from his early, because obviously he was friends with Joseph Lubin. So he got in early to Ethereum, for pennies during the ICO. My numbers may be mistaken, but I believe that Mike actually made his first $375 million because of Ethereum, and that's what kind of started Galaxy.
Well, who hasn't been there though?
I mean, we've all made it and lost it and made it again.
Exactly. Who cares? All right. That was all I wanted to say.
All right, cool. We're going to close it up, folks, because we got Trinity Trading over on Digital Asset News Channel. So hop over there. That'll be at 2:30. Am I right? 2:30 Eastern time, Rob?
Yeah, sounds good. Sure.
All right, sounds good. Sure.
I mean, are we really going to end the show? We're just over 41K and now 2,600 on ETH.
Well,
hey, nice.
Dude, are we moving the market again, Rob? The last time we had you on the show, we moved the market.
We got to stop doing, or we're going to have to get Satoshi to actually start paying us. This is ridiculous. Come up here and move the market.
All right. Well, somebody talk about one more thing so we can get it up to 41,200.
All right. This is one thing I was meaning to bring up, but I didn't earlier on. And this is why I'm getting much more bullish and much more closer to actually being able to call a bottom. So first, let's just look at this technical setup of a potential bottoming pattern. This is one of the Fidelity technicians, and I have a tendency to pretty much believe. Yeah, you're looking at this, aren't you, Rob?
That's fine.
So yeah, pretty much that. But very nice chart here. Very nice.
Can you just click on that so it can be full screen for us?
That's good.
Just so quick, live and direct. But anyways, you have this nice technical setup. You have the start of new higher lows being formed. And then when you bring it back to the stock to flow model, we've got the largest divergence away from the stock to flow model that we've ever had. I think we're supposed to be valued at around 70K according to that model right now. And we're 30% below, or $30,000 below that. So two things then, right? Either one, we're breaking stock to flow and going into a bear market, or two, we're very close to a bottom and are beginning to start the second leg of a bull market. I think we're doing the latter, and I'm very excited to see what we have this next summer, and especially going into the fall. But that's all I got.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I want to just bring up that it was about a month or so ago, CJ, when you said you were waiting for the second half of June to kind of reassess the market situation on that. Hey, are we going to go up? Are we going to take a second leg up beginning of summer, or are we going to have to wait till the end of August, beginning of September? And I kind of hopped on that bandwagon. And I said to folks, I said, listen, it's going to be mid-month. I'm going to come back and maybe reassess my price predictions for year end, depending on how the market moves. Because if we do wait till end of August, beginning of September, I don't believe we'll have velocity enough runway to get up to some of where I thought we were going to, because it didn't move where I think the end of the bull market's going to end. That remains the same. So, CJ, you hadn't mentioned it since then, but June is an important month, I think, for you.
I mean, I wouldn't really mind if we went range bound for kind of the rest of the summer. The point I wanted to make was just that I think we've put in a bottom. I think that we're starting to climb and create higher lows. Doesn't mean we couldn't go down and test 35K at a rejection of 42K. You know, we could absolutely do that, but I'm talking about an absolute bottom. And I don't know, you know, I think even if we don't rally until late August, there's still plenty of time to reach, you know, 100K, even 150K in mere weeks. Because if you look at the tail end of bull markets, you always have those exponential gains come in a span of like 3 or 4 weeks towards the end of the market cycle. So that runway, I think, would be reasonably long enough. And, you know, if I wasn't in this day by day, I'd probably go take a long vacation. My dad keeps asking me, dude, when's my Stormex bag gonna go up? I'm looking at it, it's only at 2 cents. I'm like, dude, you're not in this industry. Go play golf and relax and talk to me in August about it.
You got your dad looking at the Voyager app every 5 minutes now. I love it.
He's like, why don't I get any interest on my Stormex? What is this?
What is this? What is this scam? It's funny. Well, perfect. This is kind of like what Monty was saying too, right? A little bit of sideways action, then we could just see it go up. So if I got CJ and Monty thinking the same thing that I'm thinking, it's at least 100% guaranteed.
100% guaranteed.
100%
Rob, you and I want to do a show with you together maybe this week, where we look at what our predictions back in Q1 were and what we told folks, and run through them and just see if we have any changes.
Oh man, I was way wrong. I'll tell you that. I really undersold some things, that's for sure. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, okay, cool.
King of the show, of course you did.
I know. Well, you know, that's how it goes. All right. Anything else we got?
I think that's it, folks. Don't forget, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time over on Digital Asset News. We'll be doing Trinity Trading with Rob, CJ, and myself. And, you know, please check out danteachescrypto.com. It's free. If you're new to crypto, it's a must go over there and register thing. So you'll learn a ton. Marketrebellion.com/crypto, start for $1. And of course, tradethechain.com. Guys, hang on to your handlebars. We'll see you in about 20 minutes over